Hi, and welcome back to another podcast episode. And as this airs, it's actually the 5th anniversary of the podcast. Hard to believe. We've been through a few evolutions, but here we are in our 5th year. And if you know me, you know I'm all about acknowledging and celebrating our achievements. So I want to take a moment to congratulate myself, thank all of my guests, and thank you, the listeners, for tuning in. I'm Dr. Hayley, and today's episode, we're talking about something really close to my heart, late identification. What it feels like, what it stirs up, and how compassion can be so helpful in navigating all of our human experiences. I'm going to share some more of my journal entries. So if you haven't listened to the last episode, that one was part 1. What I've noticed in my own experience and in the people I work with is that finding out you're neurodivergent later in life doesn't just change how you see your present, it changes how you see your whole past. That can be a beautiful thing, and it can also be incredibly tender and bring with it a lot of grief and other feelings. Here are my reflections. 25 weeks since assessment. I'm getting to know myself better, and that is really helpful. More and more, I'm wanting to become more public about my diagnosis. I have told a few people. I think I want to be more public for 2 reasons. One, I want to fully be myself and proud of who I am. And I also think it would be helpful for other women to see that autism and ADHD looks different than the stereotypes that we have. I have some fears of being public, some slight fears of judgment from others. I worry a little that some people will remove themselves from my life. I worry that some people will disbelieve my diagnosis due to my years of masking and them thinking of me in a particular way. I also have my own internalized stigma, which is confronting and a little distressing. I've had to acknowledge my own biases, internalized ableism, and judgment of others. And let's face it, that isn't fun for anyone to have to do. Time will tell whether I become more public or not. I'm awaiting a referral so I can go and trial medication. I have some fear that psychiatrists will tell me I don't have AuDHD, although this is highly unlikely, but a common fear among high-masking people, I believe. In the meantime, I'm continuing to know myself, learn more about myself, and love myself. 8 months since diagnosis. It's just shy of 8 months since my diagnosis, and I'm feeling more and more inclined to be public about this. I've disclosed to a few people along the way in different settings, and overall, this has been a positive experience. I'm now thinking about being more public in my business life, and have been talking this through with a few different people: my husband, my therapist, another colleague, and a trusted friend. I've been asking myself what is motivating me wanting to disclose, and overwhelmingly, the answer that comes to me is that I want to stand proud of who I am as a woman. I want to own my identity and not feel like I'm hiding parts of myself, because that feels inauthentic for me. Having said that, if other people don't want to disclose their diagnosis to people, that's absolutely personal choice, and I respect whatever decision people make. For me, it's starting to feel like I'm holding myself back, and having spent many years, decades, working hard to accept myself, embrace all of who I am, love who I am, and be proud of who I am, I don't want to now hide parts of myself that don't need to be hidden. I shouldn't be ashamed about being autistic and ADHD. This is the neurotype that I've been born with. And whilst there have been challenges for me throughout my life, particularly due to not being aware of the fact I was autistic and ADHD, despite those challenges, I've created a beautiful life for myself. And some of the strengths I have from being autistic and ADHD have helped me build this life. It's getting to the point where I know that I want to be more public. Another reason I want to be more visible is so that other, perhaps younger, or even older neurodivergent women can see that they are not alone, that there are other women like them or similar to them. Another reason as well is to dispel some of the myths and stereotypes around what it means to be autistic and ADHD. I myself grew up with a very different image of what that meant. Probably part of the reason it took me so long to finally get round to getting a diagnosis. I do have some fears about disclosing, fears of judgment from other people. But you know what? That's not how I want to live my life. I want to live life on my own terms. I'm not staying small and I'm not staying quiet because of what other people might think. I'm not doing that. Not everyone in life is going to like me. And that's okay, because you know what? I like me. 3 weeks shy of 12 months since diagnosis. I feel more aware of who I am, what I find helpful and what I find stressful or uncomfortable. I'm realizing more and more that the profession of psychology is leaving me feeling shackled and restrained in ways that do not sit well with me. There is still a lot of judgment and stigma around neurodivergence, particularly autism. And sadly, I think this is mainly rooted in ignorance and a lack of up-to-date, accessible information about the realities of what it means to be autistic. I notice fear about sharing my diagnosis more publicly, and with that comes some anger as well as sadness. One of my most highly held values is authenticity, and it's not sitting well with me that I'm holding back that part of myself when doing podcast interviews or in conversations where that would now feel relevant. I love myself. It has taken many, many years to get to this place, and I'll be damned if I'm going to let other people's potential judgment or opinions of me change how I feel about myself. I'm an autistic ADHD woman, and I have so many amazing qualities and strengths. I also have challenges when living in a world designed for people with a different neurotype, and a world that fears and doesn't understand difference. I am me, and I love me. 2 weeks off a year since diagnosis. Trip to Sydney. Really starting to recognise how much I am impacted by noise and smells. Felt more comfortable enjoying my room and relaxing rather than being outside with crowds or people or in a noisy place like the Queen Victoria building. It's a strange feeling when you come back to the place of recognising that you're not a good fit for the world you live in. I will continue to tune into myself and learn more about myself and how I want to move through the world. It's a process of letting go of long-held views and beliefs about how life should be, how I should behave, and what I should do or not do in different situations. I will continue to design my life in a way that honours who I am. I love myself and I deserve a full, meaningful and beautiful life. First anniversary of diagnosis. Today is 1 year since I received my AuDHD diagnosis. Firstly, wow, that year went by so quickly. How am I feeling about it today? I am proud of who I am. I am so glad I received the diagnosis as it has helped me understand myself even better than before. I haven't been much more public about my diagnosis yet, but I also understand that I will do this in my own right time. I feel supported by my husband and particularly my dear friend Rebecca, and the people I have shared my diagnosis with have been supportive, respectful, and I really appreciate that. I really want to become more public in 2024. One, for myself, so I can feel like I'm out there authentically. And two, because I do think it's important for other women and other people to see different versions of autism and ADHD. I think this helps to educate, inform, and advocate for other people. This feels important to me, and I hope I have the courage to step out and do this in the new year. I know that this compassionate relationship I have with myself will help me do that. Ultimately, I'm proud of who I am. I'm continuing to learn about who I am and how I operate in the world. There have been times of sadness, where I realize that feeling I've had throughout my life of not really belonging in this world does continue, because this world is not designed for people like me, and that does make me sad. But I also know that I have the capacity and the courage to design my world in a way that does work for me, and to surround myself with people who I can relate to and feel comfortable with. I feel immensely grateful for the people in my life and many of the new people in my life who are neurodivergent. That's just been a joy and a blessing. I love me. Fast forward now to the 6th of March of this year, 2026. I'd stopped journaling for a while. On the 6th of March this year, I wrote, "Today it feels hard being autistic. I have been noticing recently the things that make it feel hard to be autistic. The sense of loneliness that sits with me when I can't relate to other people so well. Realizing that so many things can feel overwhelming and the impact this has on my nervous system. Planning to travel is a lot. I enjoy travel, or do I? Different beds, different people, being out of my routine. So many things to think about in terms of planning, what to wear, items to take, timing, and so many other things. Never used to notice how much this impacted me. In some ways, it's good because it means that I can do the things I need to do to resource myself. And in some ways, it just feels overwhelming and hard. I have found myself feeling more teary lately and at times lacking motivation. I'm allowing myself to be with all the feelings and trusting that this will pass and life will go on, and some days will be harder than others and some days easier. The one thing I know is so helpful for me is the compassionate relationship I have with myself. Compassion is one of the greatest assets in my life, and I'm truly grateful for what it provides me during this rich tapestry of life. I hope there's been some things in this reflection that are helpful for you. Perhaps you have seen yourself in some parts of that. Perhaps it has helped you make sense of some things that you're experiencing. It's been my privilege to be able to share this with you, and I do hope it's been helpful for you or somebody else that you care about in your life. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next fortnight with a wonderful guest. Go well and go gently with yourself.